The week has not finished with you yet. That sentence can land two ways, as threat or as invitation. The week that has not finished with you yet still has demands to make, conversations to require, decisions to press, unexpected things to deliver without warning. From inside the Tuesday of a demanding week, the not finished quality of it is felt primarily as the continuation of what Monday already started. More of what has already been begun. More of what has already been requiring. But the week that has not finished with you yet is also the week that has not finished doing what it was doing in you. The forming that the difficulty is accomplishing. The faith that the uncertainty is deepening. The character that the demanding relationship is building in the person who keeps showing up to it. The week is not finished with you in both directions, still requiring, still forming. And the not finished yet is an invitation as much as it is a demand. The question is not whether the week will finish with you. It will. The question is what carries you through what the week has not finished yet. Your own resources depleted since Monday and diminishing with each day's draw on them. The proximity of the weekend as motivation to outlast what remains, or something else entirely, something that is not diminished by the week's taking, that carries not from a depleted reserve, but from a source the week cannot reach. This is Tuesday, May 12th. The week has not finished, and you came here before the second day's demands have established their full weight, to receive what carries you through what is still ahead. Not to outperform the week's remaining requirements, to be carried through them by the one whose capacity to carry is not diminished by what the week has already demanded. His word declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 46, verse 4, that God says, "I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. I will carry you, not help you carry, not provide resources for your carrying. Carry." The weight is taken, the carrier changes, and the person who is being carried is not doing what the carrier is doing. The carrying is God's activity. The receiving is the person's. Before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, "Lord, carry me through what this week has not finished. I am not outlasting the week. I am being carried through it." Write it as the distinction, not endurance, being carried. Two entirely different postures for the same remaining days. Like this video as an act of choosing to be carried over the determination to outlast. Subscribe to this channel so we can begin every morning together, especially the Tuesdays when the week's first day has already shown what the remaining days are going to require, and the person needs something other than what Monday left in reserve. And share this prayer with someone who is in the middle of something the week has not finished with. Not with advice about how to get through it, with the one who carries. Now let us receive the carrying before the Tuesday has established its full weight. Lord, my God and my Father, I come before you on this Tuesday morning with the honest awareness of what the week has not yet finished producing. The conversation that is still ongoing, the situation that is still developing, the decision that is still forming toward the moment when it must be made, the relationship that is still in its difficult season and that will still be in it when this week ends. The work that began on Monday and that Tuesday will require more from before it is done. The uncertainty that arrived before the week began and that the week has not resolved. All of it not yet finished, still present, still requiring. And the person receiving all of that this Tuesday morning is the person who has been giving to it since Monday, and whose giving, real and genuine, has left the interior at a different level than where Monday began. I am not asking to be finished with what the week has not finished. I am asking to be carried through it. There is a significant difference. Finishing it would mean the situation resolved, the conversation concluded, the decision made, the relationship arrived at its better season. Being carried through it means all of that remains unfinished, and the person navigating the unfinished is held by something that the unfinished cannot deplete. Your word declares in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 1, verse 31, that as a father carries his son, the Lord your God carried you all the way you went until you reached this place, carried all the way, not until the path became navigable on its own. All the way, the carrying did not end when the difficult section was passed. It continued through every section, until here, this Tuesday, this morning, this place where the week has not finished and the person is still in what it has not finished with. Carry me all the way through this, Lord, whatever this is, until I reach the place where the carrying is no longer needed. And in the carrying, let me know the carrier well enough that the being carried is not passive but engaged, participating in what the carrying produces. And Father, I want to name something about what participating in the carrying looks like for the Tuesday person who is in the middle of something the week has not finished. It looks like continuing to do the next right thing, not the heroic thing, the next right one. The one small step that the Tuesday reveals is the right movement, even when the full path is still unclear, even when the destination of the unfinished thing is still invisible from here. The participating in the carrying is not the generating of the carrying force. It is the ongoing, faithful movement in the direction the carried person is being carried toward. The person being carried by the current does not paddle in the current's direction to assist the carrying. They paddle to stay oriented while the current does the carrying. The oriented paddling is the person's participation. The current is God's carrying. And the distinction matters because the person who confuses the two and believes they are generating the current through their paddling will exhaust themselves in the believing, while the person who knows they are being carried and paddles only to maintain orientation receives the full benefit of the current's work. Your word declares in the book of Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, to not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Do not give up. That is the participating, the continued doing of the next right good thing, not because the doing is generating the outcome, because the doing is the participation in the carrying that God is doing toward the outcome. Do not give up. The harvest comes, the carrying continues. The doing of good is the person's orientation, while the carrier does the carrying. Father, I want to pray about what it means to be carried through the unfinished rather than to outlast it. The person who is outlasting the week is the person who is gripping the remaining days with what resources the previous days left, calculating what remains in reserve against what the remaining days will require, rationing what was left from the week's spending against the week's remaining demands. This is the posture of the person whose Monday reserves are their only resource for the Tuesday through Friday, and the calculation is often discouraging. What was left from Monday tends to be insufficient for what Tuesday is about to require. The person who is being carried is in an entirely different posture. The calculation is irrelevant, not because the demands have decreased, because the carrier's capacity is not the person's reserve. The carrier is not running on what Monday left. The carrier does not have a diminishing resource that the week's demands are drawing from. The carrying is done from the abundance of the one who made the week and who is carrying the person through what the week requires. The posture change is the prayer, the deliberate, specific, practiced act of giving the Tuesday's weight to the carrier rather than gripping it as the person who must outlast it. Not passive, active giving, active receiving, active being carried. These are not the same as passive. Your word declares in the book of 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7 to cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Cast all, not the portion the person has decided is too heavy for their own carrying. All, the Tuesday's specific weight, the unfinished situation and the ongoing conversation and the still forming decision, all of it, cast. and the casting is the active giving to the carrier that produces the being carried that the prayer is asking for. Lord, carry me through what this week has not finished. I am not outlasting the week, I am being carried through it. And Father, I want to ask for something about the specific quality of the being carried that the Tuesday most needs, not the dramatic carrying of a person in crisis. The quiet, ordinary, everyday carrying of a person who is navigating the regular, sustained, unspectacular demands of a life that requires genuine showing up. The quiet carrying is the most common form. The Tuesday person is not typically in crisis. They are in the middle of something that has been requiring for a while, and that will continue to require for a while longer. And the carrying required is not the emergency rescue. It is the sustained accompanying, the presence of the carrier through the ordinary demanding Tuesday that does not produce the dramatic evidence of the carrying, but that is being carried nonetheless. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 68, verse 19, that praise be to the Lord, to God our Savior, who daily bears our burdens. Daily, not at the crisis points. Daily. The Tuesday burdens, ordinary and unspectacular and sustained, are borne daily by the God who carries daily, not only in the extraordinary moments, in the ordinary Tuesday of the person who is being carried through what the week has not finished, that daily bearing, that quiet carrying, that ordinary accompanying through the unspectacular Tuesday. That is what this prayer is receiving. And Father, I want to ask for something that the daily carrying produces in the relationships of this Tuesday, that the outlasting posture cannot. Genuine presence. The person who is outlasting the week is rationing what remains of themselves. They give what is necessary for the interaction and preserve what they can for the remaining demands. They are present in the form that the interaction requires, not the form that the other person needs. The person who is being carried brings the full version, not because their personal reserves are full, because the carrier is supplying what the reserves cannot. The patience that was drawn down by Monday is available again, not from the person's regenerated supply, but from the daily carrying God who provides what the daily carrying requires. The curiosity about the other person that the depleted interior cannot maintain is available to the carried person, not from their own curiosity reserves, but from the one who is curious about both people in the interaction. Your word declares in the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, that His grace is sufficient for you, for His power is made perfect in weakness. Made perfect in weakness. The Tuesday weakness, the recalibrated expectation weakness. The Monday reserves depleted weakness, the power that is made perfect in exactly this condition. And the person who is in this condition and who receives the being carried enters the Tuesday's relationships from the position where God's power is being made perfect, which is more than the outlasting person's rationed self-sufficiency. Let the power that is made perfect in weakness be what the Tuesday's relationships receive from me, Lord, not the rationed sufficiency, the carried abundance. Lord, carry me through what this week has not finished. I am not outlasting the week. I am being carried through it. Lord, I want to pray now about the specific things the week has not finished that most need the carrying, not the list of tasks. Those will be managed. The things that the managing does not reach, the emotional weight of the relationship that is in a season that has not yet arrived at its better place. The mental weight of the situation that has more uncertainty in it than information about how it will resolve. The spiritual weight of the question about direction that has been present longer than seemed reasonable when it first arrived. These are the things that the week has not finished with, because they are not the kind of things a week finishes with. They are the kind of things that are carried through weeks, accumulating their weight with each week that ends without their resolution, becoming heavier over time, not because the things themselves grew, but because the carrying of them has compounded. The one who carries does not carry them the way the person was carrying them. He carries them with full knowledge of their resolution. Not the resolution the person is hoping for necessarily, but the resolution that his faithfulness and his wisdom and his love for the person have already prepared. The things that feel indefinitely heavy from inside the carrying are carried from the outside by the one who knows their ending, and the weight in his hands is different from the weight in the human hands that were bearing it. Your word declares in the book of Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 through 30, that Jesus says, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Two yokes compared. The week's yoke, compounding with each unresolved thing, each carried situation, each ongoing demand. And the offered yoke, easy, light. Not because the things the yoke connects to are smaller, because the carrier of the yoke is different, the one who is gentle and humble and whose carrying capacity is not diminished by what the weak has already placed on it. Give the week's heavy yoke to the one offering the light one. That is the exchange this Tuesday prayer is making. Lord, carry me through what this week has not finished. I am not outlasting the week. I am being carried through it. Father, I want to ask for something very specific about the Tuesday's particular weight in the week's arc. Tuesday is the day when the week reveals its character. Monday arrived with the week's opening energy and whatever hope the fresh start provides. But Tuesday is honest in a way Monday cannot be. Tuesday has the evidence. The Monday conversation has produced its result. The Monday decision has shown what it will cost. The Monday beginning has met the Monday reality. And Tuesday arrives having processed the collision. The Tuesday person knows what kind of week it is going to be. Not entirely, but partially. Enough to have recalibrated the Monday's expectations into something more realistic. And the recalibration is often discouraging. The week that began with intention has met the actual. And the actual is what the actual always is. More complicated than the intention anticipated, more demanding than the optimism predicted. The carrying that Tuesday needs is the carrying through the recalibration, not the dramatic rescuing from the week's difficulty, the quiet sustaining of the person who has just arrived at an accurate picture of what the week will require and who is now facing the remaining days from that honest position. Your word declares in the book of Lamentations, chapter 3, verse 22 through 23, that because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, new every morning, including this Tuesday morning, including the Tuesday that arrived with Monday's honest feedback about what kind of week it is. The compassions are new for this specific Tuesday, for the recalibrated expectation, for the honest assessment, for the person who knows now more accurately than Monday knew what the remaining days will require. New for this, sufficient for this. Great is his faithfulness for the Tuesday that the recalibration produced. The carrying is available for the actual Tuesday, not the ideal one. Father, as this prayer closes, I want to receive something about what the carried person looks like at the end of the week. Not triumphant, not having outlasted the demands through the force of their reserves, not depleted but surviving. Something else. The specific quality of the person who was carried through what they could not have navigated alone. The quiet evidence of the accompanying, the settledness of the person who knew through the Tuesday and the Wednesday and the Thursday and the Friday that they were being carried. Not because the week became easy, because the carrier was real. That settledness is available on Friday to the person who received the carrying on Tuesday morning. Not as a result of the week's events cooperating with the hope, as the result of the week being navigated from the carried position rather than the outlasting one. The carried person arrives at Friday as the person who was carried through, not as the person who outlasted. And the difference is not only in the energy remaining, in the quality of the person, what the week produced in them, what the carrying allowed to form while the forming was happening. Your word declares in the book of Romans, chapter 5, verse 3 through 4, that suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. The carrying does not prevent the suffering. It carries the person through the suffering so that the suffering produces what it was designed to produce. The perseverance, the character, the hope, not in spite of the not yet finished week, through it. Because the carrier is the one who knows what the suffering is producing and who carries the person through it, precisely because the production is worth the carrying. That is what the Tuesday prayer is receiving. The carrying through what the week has not finished, so that the not yet finished week can finish what it was designed to finish in the person being carried through it. And I want to close with the specific word for the Tuesday person who is in the middle of something that feels too big to be carried through. The word is already. The burden that feels too large for the human carrying is already in the hands of the one who carries. Already. Before the prayer ended, before the Tuesday demanded what the Tuesday demands. The carrier arrived before the arriving was requested. The compassion was new before the morning needed it new. The faithfulness was great before the Tuesday required it to be great. You are already being carried. The Tuesday weight is already in the hands designed for it. The only thing the prayer adds is the awareness of what was already true. And the awareness changes everything. The person who does not know they are being carried experiences the Tuesday's weight as entirely theirs. They are exhausted by the carrying because they believe they are doing all of it. The person who knows they are being carried experiences the same Tuesday's weight differently. They are still in the difficulty, still navigating the unfinished, still required by what the week has not finished with. But they know the weight is not entirely theirs. The carrier is real. The carrying is active. The weight in the human hands is the oriented paddling. The current doing the carrying work belongs to the one who said, "I will carry you." Receive the awareness today, Lord. The specific, practiced, deliberate awareness of the carrying that is already underway. That did not begin with this prayer. That has been active since before Monday. That will continue through Tuesday and Wednesday and whatever the remaining days of this week produce. Already being carried all the way through. Lord, carry me through what this week has not finished. I am not outlasting the week. I am being carried through it. That is the declaration this Tuesday begins from. The carrier is real. The carrying has begun. The week has not finished with you yet, and neither has the one who carries you through it. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. Lord, carry me through what this week has not finished. I am not outlasting the week. I am being carried through it. Return to that declaration at every point that Tuesday tries to make the weight feel like yours to outlast alone. Subscribe to this channel and come back tomorrow morning. We are here every day, receiving the carrying before the day establishes its weight. Share this prayer with someone who is in the middle of something the week has not finished with. Not with strategies for endurance, with the one who carries. May the Lord carry you today through everything this week has not finished with specific, personal, daily bearing faithfulness. May the Tuesday weight be held by the one who holds without depleting. May the recalibration of Monday's hope into Tuesday's honest assessment be received from the carried position rather than the outlasting one. And may you arrive at the next morning slightly further along in what the week was producing in you, carried through what you could not have navigated alone. In Jesus' name, amen.